Hi, I'm Rich Harris and welcome back to my barbecue series for Video Jug. In this episode, I'm showing you my all-time favourite barbecue recipe. It's my butterflied leg of lamb with salsa verde. This dish for me is all about the marinade. When you're cooking something like this, it's a large piece of meat, butterflied leg of lamb. It's really important to try and tenderise it and get loads of flavour in there. So this marinade is going to really help do that. And you want to marinate for as long as possible, 3-4 hours or overnight if possible. So, first thing, some garlic. 6 cloves of garlic, and then some hot smoked paprika. That's got quite a fiery kick to it, so if you don't like it too spicy, you can use the sweet alternative. So the sweet smoked paprika works really well. And then just some fresh thyme, give it a rip, chuck it in. Don't have to be too accurate about this, it is just a marinade, so it's cool. And then a couple of red chilies. Again, be as rough as you like. You can leave some seeds in if you like it spicy. If not, just run your knife through the middle, flatten them out and just scrape out the seeds. And it's important you get rid of this white membrane here as well. That's where all the heat is contained within the chilli. This is actually my favourite dish. I always cook this for my friends and family. It's a real showstopper, everybody loves it. And I like to inject quite a bit of fiery kick from the chillies. So I'm going to do half the chillies de-seeded and half the seeds left in, and then chuck them in the food processor. Next up, a bit of lemon. So, you just need the zest of a lemon and the juice as well. But for a full list of ingredients, check out the description box. So zest goes in, and then the juice as well. So, last thing to go in is just a good glug of olive oil. Stick the lid on and give it a blitz. So next up is the meat. This is a butterflied leg of lamb, and you can get your butcher to do this for you, so don't worry about having to sort of take the bone out yourself. And the great thing about this is it's all one uniform layer, and it's all going to cook nice and evenly. Even thickness is really important. And the great thing about cooking something like this is you don't have to faff about cooking lots of different things like burgers, sausages, chicken. It's just one piece of meat on the grill, and it's going to serve all your friends and family, keep everyone happy. It's actually my favourite way of doing a barbecue. It takes out all of the effort and you get a really, really lovely show-stopping piece of meat at the end. So, just grab the marinade, tip it over the top of the meat. Now, get your hands in and just massage that marinade into the meat. Make sure all of it's covered all over. Right, so the lamb is completely covered in marinade, and now it's time to pop it in the fridge for 3 or 4 hours, or overnight if possible. The longer you can give this to marinate, the better. So, our lamb's been marinating now for about 3 or 4 hours, and all those flavours are really permeated into the lamb. The one thing I didn't put in the marinade was any salt, because what salt will tend to do if it's left on meat for a long time is draw all the liquid out, and you'll end up with really tough meat. So, season it with salt just before you chuck it on the barbecue. So plenty of sea salt over the top. And then I'm going to add it to the grill skin side down. And you want that good sizzle as well, because you know you're going to get a really good sear on the meat. Any bits of marinade, just scrape off. Right, so now the lamb's been seared, it's time to move the coals back out of the way. If you're using a gas barbecue, you could just turn the temperature down. But I think the flavour of charcoal just works so well in barbecuing. So I'm a bit of a traditionalist like that. Just knock all the main hot coals back, away from underneath the lamb. So the lamb's now cooking over an indirect heat because all these hot coals are at the back of the barbecue. So pop a lid on, and that's going to act like an oven. So the lamb's cooking away, but even with the lid on, it smells incredible. And if this recipe's got you in the mood for firing up your grill, click the subscribe button, follow us on Twitter, or come find us on Facebook. So while the lamb's cooking, I'm going to make my favourite accompaniment for any grilled meat, which is a salsa verde. It's fragrant, fresh, and goes so well with barbecued meat and fish. I've just got a big bunch of herbs here. So I've got some mint, parsley, and basil. Bunch them all up together, and then just get in there and finely chop them. Use the stalks as well, loads of flavour in there. So just keep scooping and chopping the herbs. Keep going till they're really finely chopped. Right, so when your herbs are chopped, you Start adding all the other flavours into the salsa verde. So I've got some capers, which are going to add a lovely salty kick to it. Some anchovies as well. And then some lemon zest. And just do it all on the board. You could do this in a food processor if you like, but the problem with that is it can make it a little bit too fine. So sometimes it's quite nice to get sort of big chunks of herbs in there as well and have it all a little bit more rough and ready. Now, a great tip if you're making this by hand and not in the food processor is just take your garlic and a grater and just grate it really finely. You don't want any big chunks of garlic in there because it's not nice. So grate it finely and just scrape it off and you have a lovely little garlic puree. And then again back in with a knife and just chop all those up into the herbs. Just kind of work it all together so all those flavours mix up. Grab a bowl and just scoop everything into it. So to that, I'm going to add a little bit of heat with some Dijon mustard. And some lemon juice as well. That's going to liven the whole thing up. And then next, just a good glug of olive oil. That's going to bring the whole thing together really nicely. Just give it a good stir. And just keep adding oil until you get a lovely loose consistency. Sort of a nice spoonable sauce. Right, so salsa verde is done. Time to check on the lamb. Grab a board, chuck it on there, and that's really important to rest this. It's a big hunk of meat, it's had a lot of cooking, so it needs a good 10 to 15 minutes resting, and that means that everything's going to relax. It's going to be really, really tender when you come to carve it. So lamb's been resting for a good 10-15 minutes now, and then all it's left to do is carve it into thick slices and serve it up. So there's that lovely crust from the marinade, really crispy, full of flavour, and then it's beautifully even, uniform and pink in the middle. So I hope you've enjoyed my barbecued lamb recipe and look forward to seeing you back next to the grill again soon for another in my barbecue series.